You've been nominated and you've won awards for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting and very gratifying. The last award I got was an Ovation Award for King Hedley, August Wilson's King Hedley at the Matrix Theater, and it was directed by Michelle Shea. I had done Risa, who was the younger character in the same play. I did the world premiere of Two Trains Running at Yale Repertory Theater so many years ago. Lloyd directed that. And so that was interesting, to do that play twice like that, and then years later do a role that I got an award for playing the older person in there. And I've done, oh my goodness, I've done work at the Goodman Theater in Chicago twice. I did, the last time I was there, I did Having Our Say, which is a two-character piece by Emily Mann about the Delaney sisters who lived to be 103 and 101. I played a 101-year-old woman, okay? And she was one of the first black dentists in New York. So they tell a history of 100 years. And I got a Black Theater Alliance nomination for that. Earlier, I did Crumbs from the Table of Joy by Lynn Nottage, and I got the Jeff Award for that. And I did that quite a few times, Crumbs from the Table of Joy. I did it down at South Coast Rep. Mm-hmm. I originated the role at Second Stage Theater in New York. It was directed by Joe Morton, and I got an Adelco nomination for that, and then moved on and was called to do it again later. So people keep calling me to come back and do the same role that I've outgrown. But I go back and do it if I can still handle it. So that's been nice. I had my own one-woman show that I did for a while. I took it out to about 28 cities.
Wow.
It was called A Rose Among Thorns.
There you go, yeah.
And I did the story of Rosa Parks. And I wrote it.
Oh.
My husband, Dan Martin, directed it. And we went out on the road with it. I had the privilege of performing at Troy University in the museum down there, the Rosa Parks Museum. I had the privilege of just taking it around to so many different places, and people wanted it. And I could put it to rest once I got called to do Tyler's movie, because once I did Tyler's movie, it just kind of took me out of that mode, and I was doing motion pictures, so I had to leave it go for a while. But my husband is kind of trying to nudge me into picking it back up and doing it again. I wrote it. And the reason I did that, I mean, I never considered myself a writer or anything, but I wanted to get her story out there the way it was, because when she died, people were creating myths about who she was. And I straightened all of that out in the research I did and the writing that I did. She wasn't a maid, she was a seamstress. She was downtown working on suits for white women. Mm-hmm. So how all of a sudden y'all saying she was a tired maid that day and didn't want to get up? See, so I had to do that story so people understood her essence and understood who she was. So that role was very close to my heart. I got another nomination from the NAACP and some certifications from other people that wanted to see the show. Matter of fact, I did it down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and was given the key to Fort Lauderdale
awesome.
by the mayor at the time. He loved the show. So that was wonderful. But I've done so many plays. If I were to think of one of the most fun plays I've ever done, aside from the one I just did recently at the Geffen, that was
we're going to hit that one next.
Yeah.
I got you.
But years ago, I did Neil Simon's Barefoot in the Park, starring Kim Fields, and she also produced it. And it was directed by Chuck Vincent. I did it with Art Evans and Garrett Morris and Tony Grant. And we had a ball. We did it at the National Black Theater Festival for 1,800 seat house.
Oof.
They were falling out laughing because Neil Simon is a funny writer. I did a lot of Neil Simon in workshop when I was coming along because, people used to say, well, they'll never hire you because you're black and he doesn't write, black characters. I said, I don't care. He's a funny writer and I think he's one of the funniest writers out here and I'm going to study his work. Awesome. So I did mostly all of his plays in workshop. And I ended up doing when Kim decided she wanted to produce Barefoot in the Park, I said, see, that's another great actress who knows and has good taste and knows good writers. And she knows what's funny. She came from sitcoms. She knows what's funny. I had so much fun being on stage with that child. Doing Neil Simon. That was just one of them. And it's not necessarily, the play that paid you the most or the project that paid you the most. It's the one that you enjoy the most. Yeah. And I enjoyed that. It was Tony Grant's first equity show. Wow. And, he's a fantastic singer and fantastic actor. And he was so excited. Being on stage with Art Evans did the role once, and then they switched it with Garrett Morris. It was Garrett Morris, and then sometime it was Art Evans. Both of them had me cracking up. We would be sitting on stage, and then the audience would just be screaming. And we would be cracking each other up. We would be like, trying not to laugh under our breath, like, and we would be laughing so hard. That play was so funny. I love doing Neil Simon.
You're fantastic, whether it's comedy or drama. But what leads into the next question really is, I saw you over at the Geffen Theater, and it was a performance, it was a play called The First Deep Breath. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, you played a role of an individual with Alzheimer's, mm-hmm. and you were brilliant.
Oh, thank you, George.
And I even said to you afterwards, I go, you're a scene stealer. And that's because every time you were up there, it's riveting. My question to you is, can you tell us about your process? How do you prepare for a role?
It's different each time, really, depending on the work that I'm doing mm-hmm. and who I'm working with. But what I try to do is be married to the script first. And that's more important in theater than it is, say, in a movie or in film where people are creating on their feet. They may change lines because this fits better. They may come up with ideas. That's the nature of that genre. But in theater, it's about the literary word that's already on the script that's been published.
Correct.
And so what I try to do in the beginning is learn that script. Because if I can learn the script, then I can handle the story right in the palm of my hand. I always know where I am every moment. I always know where everybody else is every moment. I learn everybody else's lines.
I was going to ask you about that.
Just so that I can be there if somebody needs help, and Lord knows sometimes I might need help, and somebody is there helping me, throwing me something. Oh yeah, that's what I was supposed to be talking about. Right. But that's part of my process, is learning the script first in theater and then working it with the actors. Working it as much as you can, so by the time we get up on our feet, we can do magic because we're not grabbing for the script. We're not grabbing for the pages. We can be loose to do whatever the director is thinking that they want to see right now because we're not grabbing those pages. And what it does is it helps you, the longer you go and the more you stay married to the script, the more that you find in between the lines of what's not written, the more you can play the silences. And that's what brings it to life. You might even find humor where you didn't think there was any humor. I mean, that one line that I had in the play that just made everybody fall out every time I says, well, does he have a little... audience just fell out. We couldn't even get to the next line. They be laughing so hard. When I first read the script, I didn't realize it was that funny.
No, but
It was the audience that teaches me what's funny and what's serious. Mm-hmm. And they was like falling out every time. And then we had the poignant moments of drama where people were hurting. What I did, since I had to play a character with Alzheimer's, I've had people in my family that had Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. And my great aunt died under Alzheimer's, but she had to live with it for 20 years.
Wow.
And I watched her. She was one of my favorite aunts. And I watched her deteriorate with that disease. And I pulled on her spirit to help me get through it. I would say a little prayer to her before each show. The show was dedicated to her. I said, this is for you, my hot Edna. This is you.
What have been some of the biggest challenges for you as an actress? And how did you overcome them?
How to overcome them? I'm not too sure I've overcome any of them yet, really. I still got challenges going on. Well, now in my life, it's age, because I've been in the business long enough to go through stages. And that can be a challenge because you start out ingenue, then you can't play ingenue anymore. Then you're middle-aged. And in the middle age, you might be able to go back to ingenue depending on the project a little bit and how well you stayed together. But then you can play a little older too. And then you're going to be old one day, you know, and those old bones be telling you about it too. Like, you got another birthday coming up, don't you? But the challenge has just been staying healthy because your body is everything in this business. And that means everything, not just physical. Your emotional health has to stay well. You have to take care of your voice. You have to take care of all the things that you use in this business that you take for granted. Your feet, your hands, everything you're working, your hair, everything.
What advice can you give aspiring actors?
Wow. That's a loaded question. Because I really don't like to give advice because I'm still figuring my life out, you know. But if there's anything that I could say, I would say look out for your friends along the way in this business. Look out for your friends, because as you get to the other side, that's who you're going to need as you get older in this business. And if you think it's always just about you and you don't have to look out for nobody else, that'll be the epitaph of your career.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. What social media platforms can people follow you on?
Well, I'm pretty active on Facebook. I'm active on Twitter.
Okay.
And I'm active on Instagram.
Just your name?
Let's see, Instagram is Ella Joyce Actress. Facebook, I think it's Ella.Joyce2, something like that. They gave it to me and I just kept it. I never changed it. When I signed up, 20 years ago? Facebook been around about 20 years, ain't it?
Now it's time for George's This or That. Ella, these are quick responses. You ready?
All right.
Okay. Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Facebook or Twitter?
Facebook.
Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Meat or veggies?
Veggies.
Jazz or R&B?
Jazz. R&B. I don't know. That one's not fair. That one's not fair.
Pick one.
Jazz.
Sandals or sneakers?
Sandals.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
L.A. or New York?
That's not fair. L.A.
Indie film or blockbuster?
Blockbuster.
Fantastic. Ella,
Pastor.
thank you for taking the time and sharing your time with us today.
Thank you. This was wonderful. I had many wonderful memories that came up, and I enjoyed talking with you.
I wish you continued success on all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching Life, and we'll see you next time. And please don't forget to like us and also follow us on YouTube. Take care.